This is a Stitch in Time Part 2, Lightning Strikes. This one doesn't really need a walkthrough that much. About the only thing that's going to kill you in here is your own foolishness. But just for completeness sake, I'm going to add it, and maybe somebody will get amused by watching me ice skate and so forth. The first thing that you need to do in here is to speak with Karana, who is in the Tower of the Rainkeeper. If you look on your map, you will get confused because Karana shows as somewhere elsewhere than where you are actually going to head. That's because he's on an upper level that you have to teleport to. So I have wandered over to the eastern side of the entry area, and I have found the little teleport pad with lightning zapping down onto it, and that is how you get up to Karana. When you are up here, things in this particular area will not attack you, so feel free to wander to the right and the left in order to get a little bit of extra Discovery XP while you're here. There is one area of this zone that will kill you if you wander into it. You don't need to go there at all. You only need to be around the atrium area, which is the entry area, up here in Karana's tower, and the 4 other towers. If you go off into the sandy area, wandering, looking for something, well, you've gone too far, and yes, Karana's people will get a little angry with you, and they may attack. So don't do it unless you're really feeling lemmingish. Okay, talk to Karana. Note the little puddles of water that you can't do anything with yet. You will come back up here to get that water after you find a bucket. But that's a couple steps ahead, so we're not going to start singing about the hole in the bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There will be time for that soon enough. So you head back down, and Vunark, who is the next one you want to talk to, is to the south. This is all pretty straightforward. It is just a lot of running, so this video will be rather long because of just the amount of time spent running. Lots and lots and lots of epic mobs. Thankfully, none of them are angry at you. Karana has given you free rein to come into this area in order to get what you need. He really doesn't feel like dealing with it himself. He knows that it is important. He agrees with you, but he's just had to deal with an interloper in his realm, and he's cleaning up his messes. So, as usual, it's up to you to deal with the thing that the gods say are really, 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 really important. And that sets the tone for this zone. Karana's people aren't going to be very friendly. They're not going to attack you, but they're not going to be all that helpful. They're just basically going to say, oh, okay, well, you go do it. Here's how you do it. We can't be bothered. Shoo, scat, scram. I am now calling up my tracking now that I am done talking to Vunark, not because I need any help finding these orbs, but because you will need a bucket, as I mentioned a little bit ago. And that bucket will either be around one of the towers or up at the top of one of the towers. Being a rather lazy sort and knowing I have to go visit all 4 towers, I'm only going to check around the bottom of all the towers while I'm here. If I don't find it at the bottom of one of the 4 towers, then I'll start coming back and climbing ramps like this ramp here to see if I can find it. But until then, I'm not going all the way to the top of that ramp just so that I can either run back down or evac back down if I don't have to. I am now done with my aluminum orbs by the looks of it. Yep, all set on the aluminum orbs. And that was from the, let's see, yeah, southwest tower. Now I will take the southeast tower since I'm already down this way. And then I will do the 2 towers to the north. There's some really pretty stuff in this zone. but it also makes you feel pretty chilly because, well, it's storms. And in some cases, those storms mean snow, ice, all that fun stuff. If I'd been really wanting to harass your eyeballs a bit, I would have done this with the neon pink Froglock and her Grapes of Wrath Meat Beast and her Berry Bovok Warder. It would have been a plethora of pink. Ice skating, slipping and sliding. They look like they needed ballerina tutus and the Fantasia soundtrack going in the background. It was rather amusing, but it is kind of hard on the eyes with all that pink, so I decided I'd use a different alt this time. I have had to run through these quests many times while we were in the testing phase because every time they made a change, I would have to start fresh with a different alt that hadn't been through there to make sure that something fresh hadn't broken. Of course, things still slipped through, but there was only 6 days and we did what we could, but it means that a lot of my alts have already been through this on test. And I'm not quite ready yet to run this on live servers because as soon as I go over to the live servers, I start wanting to bite people that are pestering me over there. So I've been over on test. It's also good so that I can check and make sure that some of the more recent fixes haven't broken something else. Alright, still no bucket. The zinc orbs are now done. I will head to the north so I can get the copper orbs and the clay and hope that we can find the bucket in one of those spots. If not, then I start climbing ramps. But first, it's ice skating time in a moment. After the run, 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 run. And this is with 155% speed right now. Because while I cannot fly, I am using the flying mount. And I am getting the advantage of that speed. I like the weapons these guys are using too. There's just a nice particle effect on them. Back past the exit, well, while we're right here, I'm just going to point. There is your crafting equipment that you will use in a little while in order to craft. Just so that you know where it is when we're done and ready to make the lightning rods. It's back at the zone inn. So if you have any sort of evac spell or totem of escape, you will be able to evac right back to that point once you have everything that you need. Come on. Yes, I know you're short-legged. There you go. Jump over it. There was an issue while this was on test and for the first couple of days of live that apparently has been fixed, but I have not double-checked it. I don't want to bug myself with it. That if you make the temper before the quest journal tells you to make the temper, in other words, the quest journal tells you make the lightning rods, then it tells you make the temper. If, on the other hand, you make the temper first and then the lightning rods, it was not updating the quest. I have not retested that. Do be aware of it. Do follow your quest journal when in doubt. I know that in the recipe book, alphabetically, the temper came before the lightning rods just because of the exact names of them. So people were crafting them out of order. And yes, harvesting on ice is a pain. You have to kind of sidle up to it sideways and spin around, just kind of slow your slide a bit. All that practice harvesting shinies on the ice in the Frostfell Wonderland Village comes in handy. All the little tricks you learn about jumping or spinning or so forth, those come in handy for the 10 copper orbs that you have to harvest. For all of these different orbs, Ample Harvest does work. so you can speed up your harvesting a little bit by getting 2 off the same node at times. I need 2 more orbs. I have not seen the bucket yet. I'm going to hope that it's over with the clay, otherwise I start climbing. But Mommy, I don't want to climb today. The least likely spot for it to be, the bucket that is going to be this ramp, because you will use this ramp in a little while, and you will have to ice skate up and down it to grab a block of ice. So since the block of ice spawns up there, it is less likely that the bucket will be there. It's possible, but it's not as likely as it will be in other spots. Slow down when you come near the ramp. You do not want to go skidding past it and over the edge. That is one of the ways that you can die in here, is dropping over the edge and dying that way. The others are just as silly deaths, and I will explain them as we get closer to those points. For now, it's just more running. To go to the final tower that we have not been to yet, which will be the one to the northeast. I do not pay attention to the tower names, mostly because my version of Test has broken maps. The only time I remember that the maps are broken and that I need to re-download all the EQ2 map stuff is when I'm already in-game and busy with 10 different things at once. So, my maps are still broken, my tower labels are not there. I just haven't gotten to it. It's been like this for a year now. I don't think it's going to change any. Poof, it's magic. Have it all fixed immediately. Doesn't work that way. I haven't put a bug in the hubby ogre's ear. I can do it. I just have not gotten around to it. I keep forgetting until I absolutely need it. It is not looking promising for the bucket, because I am over halfway through my clay and I do not see a bucket on track. Thankfully, one of the places it is likely to be is up this ramp here. That would ultimately be the best spot for it if it had to be in a tower, because I've done this one last. If the bucket is up there, then I can just evac to the center and craft. I may or may not be that lucky, though. Usually, if there is a bucket here, it will show up on track as you're spiraling up, and then it will disappear off track again. It is not showing. So I don't think it is here. Grumble, mumble, mumble, grumble. It is not. So, close that out because track does not work once you zone. I am going to evac. Then I am going to go south, just because, and try to remember which tower actually has a ramp. I want to say it's the southeast one. With my luck, it will be the southwest one. So I'm going to pause this and I will bring you back up to speed once I actually find the bucket. Of course, after saying that it was not likely to be up the icy one, it's up the icy one, at the very top of the tower. Unlike other spots, it is not at the center top of the tower, because the center is where the ice comes from. So here's your bucket. Gather it. Bada boom, bada bing. Cute little text on it. There's a hole in the bucket, dear Liza, etc., 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 etc. Now I'm going to evac out of here and do the crafting at the center. Oh, actually I have to grab the water first, yes, but I'm still going to evac. Equip, use, and away we go. Now I need to grab the water, which will be again off to the west, east, the other west, yes, off to the east, the port pad leading up to Karana. Grab the water, go back down, craft. So since that's what is the next step, I'm not going to bother recording it all. I'm going to pause here. I will return after I have finished crafting the temper and the lightning rods. Aha! I'm back after getting the water. I've just realized how they fixed the problem with people crafting the temper before the rods. You now actually get only the recipe for the lightning rods when you finish fishing and gathering and everything else that is needed to get the components for the combine. Once you finish the lightning rods, then it will give you the recipe for the temper. This is their fix for people who refuse to read quest journals and just craft any old which way they want. Okay, now I'm going back to actually pausing, and we'll be back again shortly. Alright, I am done crafting. Now I get to right-click on the heated clay temper, apply it to the lightning rods, wave everything around to cool it off and make it dry. There we go, all done. And now it wants me to speak with Edlius, which is the wyvern in Sandstorm Commons. So you first of all will be heading north. Oh, this instance may not have as many slow crafting combines as some of the others, but it sure has a lot of running. I guess my characters are not going to get very fat. This may even slim down little Naomi with her halfling pie thighs. Nah, not gonna happen. She eats enough. Not gonna happen. I have headed to the northeastern tower. And I am going to deal with a grumpy, hungry wyvern or wyvern, depending on your pronunciation. He's rather rude, even though he knows that Karana has said that you need help. He's not going to be all that friendly. And he sends you off for some way to cool the lightning rods after he fires them. So now you get to go ice skating again. Oh joy, oh bliss. If you were not already level maxed by the time you got to that point in the quest, you will also notice that you gained trade skill experience for a partial completion of this quest. Several of these quests do that, where you get some interim experience. This is good so you're not leveling as many levels in one fell swoop. It also means that for some of these, you will be able to then work on your harvesting skills a bit more. Since there's nothing else to harvest in this zone, that doesn't really come into play. I was also level 110 before I even started these quests. We kind of needed some crafters on test server, so we didn't wait for this sig line to be ready. We just kind of did the grinding. Slip sliding away. Eventually I will find that ramp. And try not to slide over the edge while I'm doing it. This next step will be timed. However, it has a very bountiful timer. It's like 5 minutes or something like that, and it really should not take you more than half that time in order to get back with the block of ice. It does give you extra time. Some people talk about jumping and so forth on the ice to slow down and to make turns, but since you're actually moving a piece of furniture, I really don't like trying to run, carry furniture, and jump all at the same time. So I do this just the slow old way. All right, stop skating, get to that cube of ice, pick it up, boom, the timer has started. 5 minutes and counting down. Some people have also reported issues with returning to the wyvern and not being able to see the placement outline for the ice. It's a very hard to duplicate bug. I don't know if they've actually found a fix for it or if they're going to put some sort of other effect there so that you can see where it goes. In the meantime, the text-based walkthrough at eq2.eqtraders.com does include the actual location. So if you do not have a blue outline when you bring the ice there, you can go and do it from the location. There have been really, really, really rare instances when you flub on the ice and do not get it placed in time. Yipes, 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 excuse me. There we go. Anyway, there have been really rare instances where if you have to let the timer count down because you've misplaced the ice or something of that sort, that the ice is invisible when you go back to try to get it again to do another run. If that happens, and it is extremely rare, and they may have also fixed that already, if that happens at that point, camp to yourself. Camp to your character select, come back in, and the ice should be visible again. But that really should not happen. It should be fixed. I'm just covering all the bases and killing time while I do this run, run, run with the ice. As you can see, I'm off the slippery part and into the normal part. I am almost back to where it needs to go, and I still have well over 2 minutes going. Oh, frabjous day, Caloo, Calais. They have changed it from a blue outline to pretty, pretty sparklies. And I am going to pause for a moment so that I can get a screenshot of this for my site. There we go. I'm talking about all the ways that you can misplace that block of ice and not see the blue outline, and they have fixed the blue outline. It is no longer just a pale blue outline. So there you go. That's where your ice needed to be. Imagine that. The devs are ahead of me. All right. We are also coming up on the next way that you could theoretically die. Talk to the wyvern. Tell him that you have the ice. Ask him if he can fire the rods. He tells you to place them and then step away. He really does mean it. Do not stand in front of him. Do not. Right-click on that little batch of sand. Back up. He says, step aside, mortal. He really means it. You'll see why in a moment. There you go. You do not want to be in the path of that. You get in the path of that, well, you may be barbecued. Then you'll really be edible to him. Okay, he's done firing. Grab the rods. Pop them into the ice to cool them down. Grab the rods again. And one more batch of running. You are at the northeastern tower for the wyvern. You will now be going back to the south and the southwestern one, if my memory of north, south, east, west is correct. As soon as I get to a straightaway, I'm going to check on my guide because I always get distracted when I'm running, and then I take the wrong bend in the path and end up doing extra running. So yes, even I use my walkthroughs. Amazing what happens with fibrofog and direction. It's like, where was I going? What was I doing? I feel like Toto from The Wizard of Oz, sitting in Dorothy's handbasket going, where am I and what am I doing in this handbasket? All right, yes, the Thunder Tower is the Southwest Tower, and that is where you need to head, because that's where the lightning is. And that's possible death number 3. And this one, yes, I have done myself. Do not place the lightning rod and then go AFK for a quick stretch or a pet of the cat or answer the phone or whatever. You place the lightning rod, you step back. Standing next to a lightning rod during a lightning storm is bad, okay, kiddies? It may not kill you directly, but it'll send you flying. And it's very likely that if you're AFK, you go flying right over the edge. Boom, thud, come back, you're out of revive window. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Don't want to do it again. And after all that talk of east and west, I ran southeast. Gee, perfect example of me trying to talk and run at the same time. It does not work well. At this point, I just kind of laugh about how directionally challenged I am. And of course, I'm on a ranger. And rangers are infamous for getting lost, especially if they're my ranger. Ah, well. We're almost done. Really, we are. I want to show you the lightning storm so you can see what it looks like. It's very pretty. I'll go first person once we get there so that you can see it better. And once I do the first lightning batch and grab it, then I'll can't quit the recording so you don't have those extra couple of minutes of me doing it 3 more times. Pretty sparklies on the ground. Make it pretty clear where you have to place it. Place the rod, back up. Don't have the camera swivel all over on you like that. And here you go. Zap. Very pretty effect. Not something you want to be standing next to when it happens. There you go. I will be back in a bit to redo part 3.